Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our program for American Heart Month, a survivor story. And this is presented in partnership with the American Heart Association. And I just want to say thank you to the American Heart Association for helping to facilitate this. It's really exciting. We have a couple of presentations this month as part of that partnership. I'm Jenny Starr. I'm the Health and Wellness Specialist for the Kansas City Public Library. And we're so happy to have you today. And we are very fortunate to have Julie Rickman, who is a spokeswoman for the American Heart Association. And she's going to share her story as well as information on heart health. And throughout the presentation, I just ask that you stay on mute if you don't have a question, if you're not speaking. But this is informal enough that if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask it. Or if you prefer to use the chat, I will be monitoring that as well. So with that said, I will turn the time over to you, Julie.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy Heart Month. I am so glad that you could join. I'm going to be sharing some facts about heart disease, heart health, and then I'll go into my story. At any time, if you have a question, just ask. I'm pretty much an open book. So the screen that I have, the title of my presentation is Watching My Son Grow Up as Why, and it's just a couple of pictures that we've had. My son, Patrick, is now 14 years old, so there's an updated picture coming up, but okay. So I love this American Heart Association. It was formed in 1924 by 6 cardiologists. That was a Jeopardy question, and I absolutely love that that they shared that information on Jeopardy. But I'm very grateful to these 6 cardiologists. The mission of American Heart Association: we want to build healthier lives free of cardiovascular disease and stroke. And then we had an impact goal. This was our 2020 goal. We just wanted to educate more people about cardiovascular health and disease and stroke by 20%, while reducing it by 20% as well. So why do we do what we do? Well, sadly, heart disease is the #1 killer for women. It claims more lives than cancer. A lot of times people think that cancer is the #1 cause of death for women, but it's heart disease. And so we want to get the message out. It is also known as the silent killer. And so we just won't be silent anymore. We're going to share our stories and help educate so we can share the women in our life. So what is Go Red for Women? Well, Go Red for Women was created in 2004 because they learned that more women were dying from heart disease than men. If you kind of look at Hollywood and their stories, you usually see men in the movies dying from heart attacks, but it is actually claims more lives of women than men. Just going to share 5 facts. As I had stated, cardiovascular disease causes 1 in 3 women deaths each year. That's just amazing that it is claiming women's lives, our sisters, our mothers, our aunts, our girlfriends. So we've got to do what we can do to help educate women and let them know about their heart health. And since 1984, more women than men are dying. Fewer women than men survive their first heart attack. And so we have to do better. We have to educate the women. And it also affects women of all ethnic backgrounds. It doesn't discriminate at all. So women are involved. The women that usually get involved with the Go Red movement live healthier lives. And they will change, like 6 out of 10 have changed their diets. They'll increase exercise, lose weight, and about 90% have at least changed one healthy behavior. So when you support Go Red for Women by advocating, fundraising, and sharing stories, we save lives. And today, 300 fewer people have died from heart disease because of our education. And we want to continue sharing our message. So the first thing is women's heart health by numbers. As I stated, 1 in 3 women die from heart disease. This is alarming. Women die from heart disease every 80 seconds. So just imagine how many lives during this presentation, how many women will die. And then here's a fact, 80% of heart disease and stroke can be prevented just by lifestyle changes. And I'm going to share some of those of what we can do to improve our heart health. So I want to explain, some people don't know what a heart attack is, and heart attacks strike someone about every 40 seconds. And this is when the blood flow that brings oxygen to the heart muscle is reduced or cut off. What that means is a lot of times there is plaque buildup, and it is built up from fat, cholesterol, and that plaque just prevents the blood flow from going to the heart. And here are symptoms. Chest pain, uncomfortable, the Hollywood style, you're going to grab your chest and you're going to go to the ground. Shortness of breath, could be with chest discomfort or not. A lot of times you'll feel a tingling down your arm, and it could be when you're under stress or even exercising. This one, if you're going to reach for Tums, you have indigestion, heartburn that won't go away, then it could be a sign of a heart attack. You're breaking out in a cold sweat, have nausea, or you're lightheaded. A lot of times you can have pain in your upper back, your shoulders, in between the shoulder blade, or a lot of times people will go to the dentist because they have pain in their jaw, which isn't on this slide, or they could have flu-like symptoms. So Elizabeth Banks is an actress, and this is on YouTube. It's called Just a Little Heart Attack. So I'm going to play it. It's about 3 minutes, but it really portrays how busy women can be. So I'm going to go ahead and start that.
It started out like a totally normal day. Mom! Okay, move objection deadline to the 3rd line after survey. Oh, honey, for when you always use the verb estar. What are you doing down there? Did you finish your breakfast? Ow. Whew. Don't hit your brother. Honey, you have to eat something. Here. Okay, 5 minutes to carpool. Where's my coffee?
Okay, she's doing a lot. There goes that jaw pain.
Fine. Sandwich orders. What do you want?
Almond butter and jelly. Spaghetti.
She's trying to do too much.
You sure you're okay?
I'm fine, sweetie.
I am so late.
There's the
What are you
Tums.
doing? Hey, honey. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Discomfort
Sure?
in the chest.
Acai, my favorite. See you guys later.
Wear your shoes. Put your shoes back on, please. Go help your sister.
There's that
We're going in 3
discomfort
minutes.
in the arm.
Oh my God, what am I doing? I forgot to cut off the crust. Voila. Shoes on, potty if you need it. Honey, get your sister. Okay, get her. Nobody move. I'm getting a dustpan. Oh.
She's sweating.
I think you're having a heart attack.
Honey, do I look like the type of person who has a heart attack?
Women ignore the symptoms.
Totally
Chest
fine. Don't
discomfort.
forget to wear the high socks with the shin guards.
Forget about the shin guards, Mom.
Come on, Mrs. Underdog is not gonna wait. Whoa.
So she's displaying symptoms of a heart attack. So it's time to call 911.
Hi, sorry to bother you. I think I might be having a little heart attack. Nothing really, just some nausea, tightening of the jaw, dizziness, shortness of breath, muscle pain, achiness, this terrible pressure in my chest. Oh, really? They can be here in how long? 2 minutes. Can you make it 10? I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of my heart and I tell the women in my life to do the same.
Sounds great, by the way.
That's nice, sweetie, but that's not my heart. That is. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
Okay, so in the video, obviously, she was going over the symptoms that we help educate. And a lot of times, women will not put their health first. They put other needs. I liked at the end where she's like, can you make it 10 minutes?
All right, engineers, so what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the basics of EKG. This is a really important...
Stop that. Whoops. Okay, so that was the heart attack side. And the other part of what we educate is what is a stroke. Sorry, the subtitles are coming up. Okay, a stroke is a type of cardiovascular disease. This is when it affects the arteries leading to and within the brain. So a stroke occurs when a blood vessel that carries oxygen and nutrients to the brain is blocked. And so it's just not getting the blood and oxygen it needs, so it starts to die. So here are symptoms of a stroke. If you use the acronym FAST, you're going to have your face begins to droop on one side. Your arm is going to get weak or numb. Your speech begins to slur and you're not able to speak. It's hard to understand. And then the T is it's time to call 911. Terry Ackerson, she speaks for Go Red for Women. She lived in Kansas City, but now she lives in West Virginia. And she was out with her son, Parker, and they were going, after they did a run, they went to Starbucks, and all of a sudden, she loses control of the coffee cup in her hand. Her face begins to droop and her speech is unclear. And because, and she worked in, she was the stroke coordinator at a Kansas City hospital. So she educated her son about the signs and symptoms of a stroke, and he was able to call 911. And she goes around and she also educates for Go Red for Women. There's her name, Terry Ackerson, and her story is very impressive. So if you have time, it's a 7-minute video. I would highly recommend listening to her story. Whoops, but not today.
And I can email the link to the videos out to everyone who registered for today.
Wonderful. Okay, so now that you know some of what heart disease is, now I want to tell you what are some of the risk factors that we have. There are 3 risk factors that you will not be able to control. One is your age, your gender, and your hereditary or your race. You just can't control those. And when I share my story, I will be talking about those. But when I talked earlier about 80% of the things that you could change, one is your blood pressure. If you go to your annual physical, you begin a conversation of heart health, especially women, and just pay attention to those numbers of what your blood pressure is. Know your cholesterol numbers, and then here's one: reduce your blood sugar. We're finding that there's sugar in so much of our food. Manufacturers are putting sugar in all kinds of food that you wouldn't even consider. So we need to do a better job of reading labels. We can also, American Heart recommends that you get active 150 minutes each week. That is just 30 minutes 5 times a day or 5 times a week. Eat better. Go through the outside of the grocery stores, get those fruits and vegetables, know about portion control, and we need to watch the sodium that we intake in our food and limit our alcohol. And then they recommend you losing weight and stop smoking if you do smoke. So a little more about the numbers. So high blood pressure, we want to monitor the blood pressure. Lately, my blood pressure, I went to my cardiologist and we noticed that my blood pressure was up. There's a few stress factors that are going on in my life, so I am currently monitoring it. Normal is when the top number is 120 or 120 over 80. And then you'll see where it begins to go into pre-hypertension, hypertension, and then definitely if you're having high blood pressure, you need to talk to your doctor. And we talked about cholesterol. They used to want your numbers, I think they said like below 200. We really want you to know your LDL is the bad cholesterol. Too much can clog your arteries. The good cholesterol is your HDLs, and then your triglycerides are formed from fat made in your body. So when you have your annual physical, your Well Women exam, start this conversation about women heart health and get to know your numbers. And one way is understanding your cholesterol. Diabetes is on the rise. There's 2 types, one we can control and one that we can't. And so on the type 2, it involves insulin resistance. And so I'm going to talk a little more about what you can do. So here's the risk factors of diabetes. We are also seeing it higher in our children because just kind of what are they eating? So the risk factors that could lead towards diabetes is high blood pressure, that high cholesterol. Do you have a family history? What's your ethnic background? And gestational diabetes. When I had my son, he was 9'1" at birth, and I did have gestational diabetes. Once I had my son, I did not have diabetes. It went, my numbers were fine. and then being overweight. So get your diabetes in check. What can you do? Eat a balanced diet. Carbs and sugar intake, you need to monitor those. Get exercise, lose some weight. And if you're needing help to control it, then you may have to go on medication. And as always, work with your healthcare provider. And then know your BMI. And those are the numbers. Get your weight in check. It is hard to change lifestyle habits, but just kind of decide how to handle those temptations. Be mindful of the serving sizes. Cook foods in a healthy way, you know, baking, broiling, grilling. And the new thing is those air fryers. You can have a lot of healthy choices just by air frying some of the foods that you like. Read labels, and one thing that you can do is just drink lots of water. So when your numbers were less than optimal, again, if you smoke, stop smoking, eat a heart healthy diet, and get exercise. And I think we've gone over that. It's just exercise and diet. Those are the lifestyle changes that you can make, and it can make a difference in your numbers. And then, have you ever taken a walk in the park? Oh, especially in the spring, you know, it gives you more energy. It helps with stress and tension, depression, and anxiety, and it puts yourself in an overall better mood. A reminder to, it helps you fall asleep. And I just absolutely love the springtime. Everybody likes to go for a walk, and with what Kansas City has been having, the weather lately, I just love to go during my lunch to take a brief walk. And so we've gone over these numbers too, but Go Red for Women changes lives. So once we help educate, 6 in 10 women have actually changed their diets. 1 in 3 women will actually begin that conversation with their doctor and come up with a plan, and 40% have their cholesterol levels checked. So what does Go Red mean? It means get your numbers, own your own lifestyle, make those changes, know your risks, educate your family, and don't be silent. So that was kind of what heart disease is. Now I want to share my story. So in the fall of 2010, I was training for my first 5K. My son was 3, he was in preschool. So while he was at preschool, I began exercising on a trail, and I decided I was going to sign up for my first 5K. What I noticed on that trail is I was wanting to reach for my inhaler. I have asthma, and I thought, well, that's unusual. Usually it's my allergies that trigger my asthma, and my allergies were controlled. So that kind of should have been a red flag for me. As Christmas approached, we put up a live Fraser fir tree, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have to be allergic to that tree. So 2 days before Christmas, we actually took the tree down. I was super mom. We celebrated 5 Christmases in December of 2010. I was just a super mom, trying to take my 3-year-old to every holiday event that was out there. And we had to go celebrate in Iowa. We just celebrated way too many celebrations. So a couple of days after Christmas, I remember doing laundry and going up and down the stairs, trying to get my house back in order, and I was just exhausted. And I remember going, laying down and taking a nap. I'm just grateful I woke up. But I called my sister, who's a registered nurse, and I said, you know what? The allergy clinic is closed. I want to go to the emergency room to get a breathing treatment. So the ER doctor asked me questions, and it came to my family history, and I began sharing all the heart disease that was in my family. And she's like, you know what? I'm sure this is all pulmonary, but let's get your heart checked out, and we'll probably put you on some prednisone and to calm the discomfort in my chest. And I thought I was going to go home. It's like, okay, after celebrating so many Christmases, I'll take a night in the hospital by myself. I thought I was going to get rest, but what they do when you're in the hospital for an overnight stay, they take your vitals and they wake you up throughout the night. So I didn't get any rest. So in the morning, the cardiologist came in and she thought the same thing. It's probably going to be pulmonary. I was only 41 years old. And so I had a 3-year-old son, and it's like, I didn't even think it would be cardiovascular disease. So they did a stress test on me, and they kept inclining the treadmill. They put me on monitors, and then I saw 2 technicians look at each other, and I thought, oh, maybe there's something to this. They did a sonogram of my heart, and that revealed that they wanted to take me to the cath lab to explore my heart. And so they did. My brother was out golfing, and my sister called him, and it's like, hey, you better come here. Your sister's going to the cath lab. And I'm like, why did you call him off the golf course? It was a beautiful sunny day. I'm sure he was having a fantastic golf game, but there he is waiting for me outside of the cath lab. And what was revealed, a doctor, the surgeon woke me up and said, Miss Rickman, sometime in December, you had a heart attack. So I had 2 blockages in my heart. One was a 95% and one was a 98%. I have no idea when I had the heart attack, but so as soon as the cardiologist or the surgeon told me that I had a heart attack, all I could think about was my son, and would I be alive to watch him grow up? My father died 2 days before my 11th birthday from heart disease, and he missed out on all the important things in my life. And so instantly I thought of my son. So I went to so they put a stent, they were able to stent one blockage, and the other way, the heart just, it kind of found a different route on the other blockage. They said that I had minimal damage, but I decided, they sent me to cardiac rehab, and there is where I met my geriatric friends. And I'll never forget this one senior. He said, "What are you doing here? You're too young to be here." And I said, "Well, I had a heart disease, and it doesn't discriminate." He goes, "You're right." But he gave me the encouragement. He told me that he had a heart attack, but he changed his lifestyle and he exercised, and he gave me hope. It was the first sign of hope. But I felt disconnected. No one looked like me. They were all geriatrics. And it's like, so I talked to my cardiologist, and she's like, why don't you connect with the American Heart Association? And that's where I found women who looked like me, who had the same stories like me. And it took me 5 years to share my story. I did let family members know, but my friends, I did not let know. I was embarrassed by that heart attack. And so the only thing that I controlled being a type A person was my story. And I definitely, I regret that decision. So here's my family history. So what you will notice is, look at that long list of heart disease in my family. So I never asked, why me? Here's the story. It's our family history. So after I had my heart attack, I took my son to his pediatrician, and I let them know that here's the list of his family history, and he immediately indicated that. We do monitor his cholesterol, and he has, and I raised him with healthy lifestyle. He's never had soda. He drinks a lot of water, and he knows about exercising. So these are the women that changed my life. These are my heart sisters. Our hearts brought us together, and we definitely share our stories so that we can educate women. So this is my life, and I did more 5Ks. You can see the color run in this picture. I got involved with Jump Rope for Heart, and that's my son. I Will Educate was in the Kansas City Star, and then this picture here, these are just pictures of me educating in our community. I was on the radio to educate, and that Joel Nichols, if you remember him on TV. So it was like 4 years, and I didn't share with the closest women in my life, my girlfriends. And I'm like, how am I going to tell them? Because I wasn't embarrassed anymore, but I kept it a secret. So I went on Joel Nichols' morning show, and that's how people found out that I had a heart attack. So what did I do? One, I worked on my diet. I eat real food. I get shop at the farmer's market. I do various exercising. I like the 5Ks until I had some back issues. And now I just go for walks at parks. Kansas City has the best parks ever, and there's so many to try. So just kind of get out there and start walking them. Bike rides for our anniversary. My husband and I celebrated with new bikes, and we go on bike rides. I will say the one factor that I still struggle with is stress in my life. And I kind of had to stop being super mom, stop going to all those events. And I try to do some meditation. Deep breathing has really helped me with stress. This is my sister. She's a nurse, and she also helped. She got involved with American Heart Association because she wanted to educate women as well, because she almost lost her sister. I was lucky. Most women will take a nap when they have symptoms of heart disease, and I was fortunate enough I woke up. We like for people to get involved with our Go Red movement. Our next event that's coming up is Saturday, February 26th. It is our Heart Ball. This is so fun. If you are interested, just go to the link, because they are always looking for volunteers. And there's other ways you can get involved. Here's how you can reach us. We are on social media. And so if you want to learn more, I would recommend heart.org, and then you can find out in Kansas City, but there's tons of information. And specifically for the Go Red movement, just go to goredforwomen.org. So once I shared my story, I submitted a video to American Heart Association, the local chapter. Little did I know they were going to submit it to the national level. I was interviewed to see if I wanted to be a national spokesperson, and I one hot day in July, we did a photo shoot, and these are women who are survivors. I was in the class of 2016, and we had a national campaign. So these are the ages. This is what I want you to look at. So these are all women, all from their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. What connected us was our heart. It just does not discriminate. And I want to point out, let's see, where is she? Annie, she had a heart transplant at the age of 22. So heart disease is our battle. We wear the red dress as our suit of armor, and prevention is how we fight. And that was one of our photo shoots we did on a very hot day in Texas, in Dallas. And so what's the factor that is going to change your life? What is your why? Why do you want to live a healthier lifestyle? Once you find your why, then it makes changing your life different. Here is my why. It was that 3-year-old that I had, and I missed out on my father. So I wanted him, I wanted to watch him grow up, because I want to be at his graduation. I want to be at his wedding. I've been blessed with 11 years that I am so grateful that I woke up from that nap. And I'm so grateful that I went to the ER. This picture right here with his curly hair kind of looks like his mama. These were shirts designed by, I work at a physical therapy clinic, and they designed those shirts for my 10th anniversary. My guys wore their shirts this year. But Patrick became an advocate already for American Heart Association, and he always was the top fundraiser for Jump Rope for Heart. And I'm proud of him. This was when we went to New York City as an American, or as a national spokeswoman. And this Kansas girl went to a fashion show in New York. But again, we were educating women on heart health. But this was just some of the fun stuff that we did. With my community involvement of educating women, I was given the Buck O'Neill seat at the Royals game, and I got to share it with the men of my life. My brother, who's always been a Royals fan, of course, my husband and son, and my nephew, who was on a scholarship for baseball. So that was fun. Something I'm very, very proud of. And so this is more of me just enjoying life. This was my 10K that I did, my first 10K. Others of just celebrating life. We're huge Star Wars fans, so of course we went and saw movies. This is Jenna Bell. She is a heart transplant that I had the honor of calling my heart sister and getting to know her. And the year I became a national spokeswoman, she was able to get her heart. So it's very scary of knowing the heart trans recipients. Unfortunately, my great heart sister, good friend, Sadie, after she got her heart transplant, but she was rejecting it. This is our heart sisters, and we gathered at her funeral. And then just recently, the deacon at my parish, he had a heart transplant, and he got pneumonia, and he just recently passed. And so life is why. So we have to educate women and women and men in our life. So I would be happy to answer any questions. I'm open to anything about my life, about American Heart Association.
Now feel free to unmute, or you can put questions in the chat.
I have a question, Linda. Is there any way that the Heart Association could lead, like, let's say a diet group, let's say the Mediterranean diet or something, and maybe once a week people could meet online and and lose weight together and maybe put in their numbers or something, or have, I even wrote to the president before asking if we could have competition between like the different states, California versus Missouri, whatever. But I just got to thank you for asking.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. What we do with American Heart, that's wonderful. And you could ask them through social media. They're always open to ideas. One of the ways that I got connected was at meetings that we had of doing fundraising, getting more involved. And I just connected with Heart Sisters. And from there, we get involved. So one of the things that I did, I wanted to do 5Ks. I found some Heart Sisters that wanted to do it. And so we started signing up for 5Ks. And I think Erin popped on. She is on here. She works for American Heart. Let me see, what does she say? We don't have in-person support groups, but we have online network. Yes, we do. And that you can find them through social media. I will share the link with Jenny, and they actually meet, they're trying to meet once a month. And it's a network of women, and you can, it's all through social media and they connect, but I do know they meet monthly. And I can't remember, this week they were having their meeting, and it's through, it is through social media, through Facebook.
Thanks. And it looks like Erin's putting the link for the support network in the chat.
Yes, thank you. It's supportnetwork.org or .heart.org. And I shared my story. I have shared my story there as well, but especially women that are going through heart disease, whether it's diabetes or if they're a survivor, that's a great network to get involved with, because that was one of the things that I was missing. It's like everyone was older, and it was like nobody looked like me. And so that was part of the reason why I felt embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know I had a heart attack. But with my family history and the genetics, I couldn't control that. So I'm just grateful to American Heart Association because they were able to connect me to other women that looked like me. And we have several like runners in our, as I call them, my Heart Sisters. And there's local running clubs, walking clubs that you can get involved with. And I can share that as well. They do the Mother's Day walk, and they in Corporate Woods, and there are women that meet together. And I think, Linda, that would probably be like a great group to get involved with.
Yeah, I'm in LA, thank you. But yeah, maybe they got groups in LA. I'm not the best walker. I have leg injuries and things, but yeah, got to start slow. Thanks.
Absolutely. And with exercise, there's different forms that you can do. It just doesn't have to be walking, but the idea is just to get moving. Like my husband and I, we enjoy going on the trails with our bike, and it's like especially in the summer when it's not so hot, maybe more like May, June. You gotta have fun with the exercise and find something that you enjoy, whether it's yoga. There's so many classes. And I know here in Kansas City, we're just fortunate because there's just always some form of exercise group. My favorite is just dancing, putting on some music. It's like just whatever you like to dance to, just start dancing. Now I embarrass my 14-year-old son, but especially when my husband and I dance. But what I'm trying to model for him is be active, get busy.
Yeah, I used to square dance before the pandemic. And it's hard to be sad or bored or lonely if you're dancing and loading the boat and exploding the wave, all those crazy moves. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you joined, Linda. That's great.
Thanks.
Julie, one thing I just want to point out is you mentioned that you were embarrassed and you talked about why your age and, you know, you felt like nobody looked like you. And I think it's really amazing that you are sharing your story, because I think you put that sort of younger face to heart disease. And I think it's also important for us to recognize we have stigma in our culture around any kind of illness. You know, we have a lot of preference for health, right? And so sometimes that keeps us also from getting treatment. And so it's important to pay attention to your signs and symptoms and really seek that treatment regardless of, you know, what you think might be happening. So
Oh, absolutely. And, I think the best thing that you could do is just begin that conversation at your annual physical. Hey, and especially if you have heart disease in your family, just say, hey, you know what? I just heard someone at the age of 41 had a silent heart attack. I have a family history of heart disease. What do I need to do? And just get involved. And like I said, heart disease it affects women in their 20s too. I mean, it's just it will not discriminate. So know your family history, absolutely. And my regret was not sharing. Once I shared, do you know what my friends did? They called their doctors. It's like, oh my gosh, if it happened to Julie, I have family history, and so they got to know their numbers, and so that's why I share my story, because I want other women to be alive, to be around their loved ones. Um, you know, 11 years I've had with my son, and it's like I'm going to do whatever I can um, to improve. To do what I can, what recommendations from my cardiologist, and I just want to watch them grow up.
all right. Well, any other questions before we end today?
And I have to say one thing, just for lifestyle changes, it's like I raised my son without soda, and when he did a sleepover, he tried to taste a soda, and he doesn't like it. So just a proud mom, and I also raised him on vegetables. So it's like it can happen with slow changes. I know that's what we do. We also, as a working mom, um, there's tons of salad bars that can help you. And I think there's a bunch of groups, stores that are helping more with healthy lifestyles. I did change my diet 2 years ago. I haven't had any meat in 2 years. And now I'm going to be going to a nutritionist to see what I need to do I just want her to give me advice, see what I'm eating. And I just had at my annual physical, I just asked my doctor, hey, can I go see a nutritionist? So she gave me a referral.
Yeah, for sure. Getting that expert dietitian is really helpful. Okay, well, thank you so much, Julie, for sharing your story with us and sharing your expertise with us today. And thank you to the American Heart Association for helping to facilitate this program. And thanks for all of you who could attend. We are going to have a second program for American Heart Month on February 22nd. And this one is titled Heart Disease in Women. And it's going to be given by Dr. Valerie Rader, who is the Clinical Assistant Professor of Medicine at UMKC. And she is a cardiologist at St. Luke's. And that should be a really good program as well. And as a reminder, if you are a Kansas City Public Library employee and you would like Go 365 points for attending today's program, please send an email to me and then I will get that information. That's optional, but I just want you to know that that is something that you can do. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.